Hello guys, this is a new game called Cards and Tankards. Well, I don't know if it's new, I just got it. It's free, it's an App Lab game on the Oculus Quest 2. It's like a card game, kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, or Pokemon if you actually play it like how you're supposed to. So, let's start. Let's go into the...
Welcome to Cards and Tankards. Let's get you started with learning the basics.
Because I have to play the tutorial.
Take a moment to open your watch menu by tapping your watch with your index finger, or press the Decks button in your watch menu to open the deck. Use your controller's grip. Place the tutorial deck box. This is the Easy AI. Most adventurers call him Mulligan. He's going to help teach you the basics.
Alright.
At the beginning of a battle, you can choose to redraw your starting hand with one less card. But for right now, let's continue on. Press the Accept button. Battles take place here on the table.
Yeah.
This is your health.
This is a
If it reaches 0, you will lose the battle.
It's still deep in the beta.
This is your mana. You will spend it to play spells and summon creatures.
Ooh.
Look at the cards in your hand. Notice how some have a blue outline around them. Those cards have a mana cost you can afford this turn. You should probably summon. Examine the card. The number 1 in the top left corner represents the mana cost of this card. The number 2 in the middle left represents the attack power. And the number 1 in the middle right is the creature's health. Let's summon Skywatcher Sentry by placing the card in the creature area shown. Great job.
Ooh, I love that.
Skywatcher
That's
Sentry
really
is now a
cool.
friendly creature under
It's
your
like
control.
3D.
It is important to note that your mana was reduced by 1 in order to summon Skywatcher Sentry. Since Skywatcher Sentry was just summoned, it is exhausted. This means it can't attack or use activated abilities this turn.
It's actually kind of like how it is in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Speaking of abilities,
That is,
the wing icon represents a
if you're-
passive
if
ability
it's
called
your
Flight.
first turn, then you can't play.
This means Skywatcher Sentry can only be blocked by other creatures with Flight or ranged.
Schmack.
As you encounter new cards, remember, you can always examine it to learn more about it. Since your mana has reached 0, and you have no creatures that can attack, let's end your turn. Grab the hourglass. Now it's Mulligan's turn. He is going to play the spell, Gunhunt's Call, to summon a 1 attack, 1 defense Desperado. Make sure to examine it to learn more about its abilities. It looks like that is all he'll be able to play. So he will end his turn and pass the hourglass back to you. Did you notice? Now that it's your second turn, you've gained 1 extra mana. Let's use that mana to play. Spells must be played in the spell area. Boon to Bones requires you discard a card from your hand. Let's discard Garanin Trade. In order to discard Garanin. Nicely done. Boons to Bones will now summon a Bone Amalgamate and draw the top card from your deck. Notice that your Skywatcher Sentry is no longer exhausted. Let's attack with it this turn. To declare an attack, push Skywatcher Sentry forward into the battle area.
Oh.
Now that you're ready, flip the hourglass to confirm the attack.
Alright. This is really cool. I can see myself playing this game a lot.
Your opponent will always be able to choose how they block against your attacks. In this instance, Mulligan will block your Skywatcher Sentry with his Desperado. Creatures deal their attack to one another. If a creature's health reaches 0, it dies. And when a creature dies, it is sent to the graveyard.
Graveyard, just like in Yu-Gi-Oh.
It is now Mulligan's turn again. Looks like he decided to summon a Dungeon Instigator. He is also playing the spell Motivational Fervor.
Oh, I thought I was picking.
That spell allows Mulligan to give one of his creatures Amped and +2/+2 until end of turn.
Yes.
Amped is the ability that removes the exhausted status of a creature. That means it will be able to attack the turn it's summoned.
Alright.
The +2/+2 means that the spell increases the creature's stats by 2 attack and 2 defense. Mulligan has declared an attack and ended his turn. Notice how the hourglass is now on your side again, but it has a shield icon on top. The shield icon signifies that this is your turn to block. Notice the yellow ring around Dungeon Instigator. This indicates that a creature will deal direct damage if left unblocked. Use your controller's grip button to grab your Bone Amalgamate and place it in the blue ring in front of Dungeon Instigator. Perfect. The yellow ring around Dungeon Instigator has disappeared. This means it will no longer deal direct damage this turn. Unfortunately, the Bone Amalgamate died because it took 4 damage from Dungeon Instigator, and it only had 1 health.
My life points get hit.
There's nothing else you can do right now, so flip over the hourglass to start your next turn. The hourglass remained on your side of the table, but the icon on top has changed to an axe. The axe icon indicates that it is now your main turn again. Do me a favor. Point your hand at the graveyard located on your left, and pull your... Oh look! Remember last turn how you discarded Garanin Trading Prince?
Oh, I don't want
You have a
that.
spell in your hand that can bring him back. Close the graveyard by swiping it away. Play the spell Necromancy to summon Garanin Trading. Select Garanin Trading Prince by grabbing it. Great work! Garanin has some really unique abilities. Remember, you can examine him if you want to learn more. Otherwise, there is nothing more to do, so flip the hourglass to end your turn.
Right. My turn. I like the music. Oh.
What just happened?
No idea.
Mulligan summoned a monstrous recruiter, and several abilities triggered as a result.
Oh god.
Let's break down each ability. Triggered abilities will only activate under certain conditions. For example, Monstrous Recruiter has an entrance ability, which was triggered by entering the creature area. Once activated, Mulligan drew 2 cards. Your Garanin Trading Prince had an ability trigger as well. As long as you control Garanin Trading Prince, you gain 1 life whenever an opponent draws a card. And since Mulligan drew 2 cards from Monstrous Recruiter's entrance ability, you gain 2 life. It looks like Mulligan is attacked again with his Dungeon Instigator, so it's time to make a decision. If you block the Dungeon Instigator with your Garanin Trading Prince, both creatures will die. Garanin Trading Prince has some very strong abilities. It is better if you keep him alive. Instead of blocking this turn, you can choose to take the direct damage. Flip the hourglass without designating a blocker. Ouch. You lost 2 life from that attack, but trust me, it was worth it. Since now it is your 4th turn, you have 4 mana available to spend. You definitely need another creature to block Mulligan's Dungeon Instigator next turn. Grab Loyal Spellshaper from your hand and summon it. Loyal Spellshaper has an ability called Mastery, which buffs damage dealt by spells. You don't currently have any damage spells in your hand, but maybe we can draw one with Garanin Trading Prince. Manually activate his ability by tapping him on the head.
By doing by oh. Like tapping? What? Hold on. Me. Oh. Like this? Like this. Oh, I did it.
Would you look at that? You drew a Dark Matter Blast. That is exactly what you needed. If you look at Dark Matter Blast, you will notice the damage value is green. That is because the Mastery ability from your Loyal Spellshaper
Right, that
buffs
took
your
a
first
second.
damage spell each turn. Since Loyal Spellshaper has Mastery 2,
Huh.
Dark Matter Blast increased from
Interesting.
deal 3 damage to deal 5 damage. Play Dark Matter Blast to spend the rest of your available mana this turn.
Blink.
When playing a damage spell, you will likely need to choose a target. Anything highlighted with a blue ring is a possible target for Dark Matter Blast. Be careful though, you can accidentally target yourself. You can either tap a target directly or point at it and pull the trigger to select it. Target Mulligan's life points to deal 5 direct damage. Fantastic! You really are quite a natural. Normally, a match would continue until a player's health reaches 0, but since you have successfully covered all the basics, let's move on. Did you know that this card game is based on our ancient history during the time of the Dungeon Wars?
Oh.
Most adventurers who pass through here only know bits and pieces about the legends.
Interesting.
I'll give you a quick history lesson since you need to choose a primary faction later on.
What? There's factions?
This deck's primary faction is Dungeon Master. The Dungeon Masters were a powerful race of scholars whom worshipped the oldest god. They sought to improve their mastery of dark matter magic by experimenting on the poor, unfortunate dead. Dwelling in their dungeons beneath the towers and catacombs of the ancient world, they commanded their forces of undead armies and enslaved monsters to protect their conjured riches from greedy plunderers. On the table in your creature area, you can see the Dungeon Master Zerothrix. When you select Dungeon Master as your deck's primary faction, you must add 1 Dungeon Master to your deck, and their health will always be equal to your own. This means whenever Zerothrix takes damage, you do as well. To balance the fact that you always start the match with your Dungeon Master in play, you start each battle with 1 less card in your hand. All Dungeon Masters have strong abilities you can build a deck to synergize with. Point at Zerothrix Arcanist Supreme to Zerothrix has the Mastery ability. He would be a smart choice in a deck full of damage spells.
Sorry, my cousin is...
Overall, the
is
Dungeon Master
entered
faction
my
is easy to
house.
learn and well balanced with a variety of spells and creatures to choose
Very
from.
loud.
There are more
Most of my
factions to
dog
choose from
barks
though,
whenever
so
someone
let's keep going.
Even, like, knocks at the door. Like a normal door.
This deck's primary faction is the Monsters' Rights Association.
Huh?
The Monsters' Rights Association is an army of foul and murderous beasts, often birthed by the vile dungeon masters and twisted experiments deep within the dungeons. However, under the gibbous powers of the wild god, they rebelled against their former masters and struck them down out of hatred and malice. No mortal being in the ancient world was safe from the stampede of these vengeful creatures. While playing with Monsters' Rights Association as your primary faction, you can put a creature from your hand into your reserves once per turn. Grab Skywatcher Sentry from your hand. Place Skywatcher Sentry into your... When you put a creature into your reserves, you gain 1 additional mana that turn. With that additional mana, you can now summon Improvised Medic. Grab Improvised Medic from your hand.
Don't know what sounded.
Improvised Medic has an ability called Mobilize, which will summon a creature from your reserves with a mana cost equal to the Mobilize value. Since Improvised Medic has Mobilize 1, it will summon the 1 mana Skywatcher Sentry you just placed into your reserves. Summon Improvised Medic to watch the Mobilize trigger.
Don't know where they're pointed out.
Overall, the Monsters' Rights Association is a creature-heavy faction that is typically fast-paced. However, it requires careful planning to capitalize on its full potential. Keep this in mind as you explore the other factions. This deck's primary faction is the Plundering Guild. The hearts of men are reliably corrupted by the promises of power and wealth. However, almost none would ever dare venture into the dungeons of the masters in that pursuit. Despite this fact, imbued by the god of greed's temptation, the greediest thieves and mercenaries of the Plundering Guild often risk their lives for the ultimate payout. While playing with the Plundering Guild as your primary faction, you will notice that a new resource is available in front of you. This is your coin resource. Many of your cards can be enhanced in exchange for coins. You earn 1 coin at the beginning of each turn, similar to mana. However, once you exchange a coin, it is lost forever, so spend them wisely. Grab Frontline Squire from your hand. Frontline Squire has an entrance ability that will buff a random creature in your hand. You can also see that it has an enhance ability which will upgrade the card. Once enhanced, Frontline Squire will be able to buff 2 random creatures instead of only 1 in exchange for 1 coin. Grab Frontline Squire and tap it to the coin to enhance the card. Now that's a powerful card. Notice that the text has been altered and there is no longer an enhance ability. This card can't be enhanced a second time. Summon Frontline Squire to trigger its entrance ability. Since you enhanced Frontline Squire, both Pillaging Prince and the Dagger Supplier were buffed by +1 attack and +1 defense. Cards that are enhanced or buffed in your hand are permanently improved and will not return to their original stats even if they are killed, banished, or returned. Overall, the Plundering Guild is a creature-heavy faction that is all about balancing your resources to gain incredible value to overpower your opponent. Well, I've taught you all I know. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask your fellow adventurers. I am glad that you stumbled into this old tavern of ours. A tankard of ale and a good distraction is exactly what an adventurer like yourself needs.
Oh, let's go. 14. I can flip. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna have to end this video here because I don't want you to see this.